You ever stop to ask yourself, why do I care so much what other people think of me? Why do we let someone's passing opinion, or even the thought of judgment, dictate how we show up in the world? I want you to pause right here and sit with that. Because the truth is, you're not alone. Every single one of us, me, you, the person sitting next to you at a coffee shop, we all wrestle with this invisible weight, the need to be accepted, to be liked, to be seen in a certain way. And most of the time, we don't even realize it's running our lives. You don't post that idea because you're worried someone will laugh. You don't speak up in the meeting because you fear looking stupid. You don't go all in on your dream because, what if you fail and they see it? But let's get one thing straight. This need for approval didn't just show up out of nowhere. It's wired into us. We are social creatures. Our ancestors survived by staying part of the tribe. Thousands of years ago, if your people rejected you, it could literally mean death. So that fear, that's ancient, that's biological. But here's the kicker. What kept us alive back then, it's killing us now. You live in a world that constantly tells you how you should look, what success should feel like, who you should be. And every time you scroll, every time you hear a backhanded comment or get ghosted or overlooked, it reinforces this toxic little voice. You're not enough unless they say so. But let me ask you something. Who are they? Really, half the time they are just strangers. The other half, they're people who don't even know the real you. They've never lived a day in your shoes, never seen the struggle behind your smile, never stayed up with your anxiety at 3 a.m. So why then do we hand them the steering wheel of our self-worth? Because somewhere along the way, we forgot something important. We forgot that our value doesn't come from applause. It doesn't come from how many likes we get, or who follows us, or how smooth we sound when we talk. It comes from who we are, not who we perform to be. I'm telling you this today, not as some guru on a pedestal, but as someone who's walked through this fire. I used to crave the nods, the approval, the validation. But every time I got it, it felt empty, like chasing wind, and when I didn't get it, I questioned myself, until one day I realized living for other people's opinions is the fastest way to forget your own identity. See, the moment you start shaping your decisions based on imaginary reactions from others, you handcuff your potential. You start living a version of your life that's filtered, edited, and stripped of truth. And that, my friend, is exhausting. You weren't born to be liked. You were born to be real, and real doesn't always please people. Real sometimes ruffles feathers. Real is misunderstood, but real is free. So in this first chapter, I want you to ask yourself one powerful question. Who am I when nobody's watching? And more importantly, am I living from that place? Because when you start to answer that honestly, that's when your power returns, that's when judgment loses its grip, and that's when you begin to build a life rooted in authenticity, not approval. And trust me, the world doesn't need more copies. It needs you, unapologetic, unfiltered, undeniable. Let's rewind the clock. Back before smartphones, back before social media, even before mirrors were common. Why do we start caring what others think in the first place? The answer lies deep in our biology. It's part of your survival software. Back in the tribal days, being accepted wasn't about popularity. It was about protection. If you were cast out from the group, you didn't just lose friends, you lost food. Shelter, safety, rejection meant risk. So what did your nervous system learn to do? Simple, it learned to scan the tribe constantly. Am I fitting in? Do they accept me? Am I safe? That ancient software is still running, non-stop. Only now, instead of tracking 5 or 10 people in a tribe, you're tracking hundreds, maybe thousands online. We went from cave fires to comment sections, and the system never got an update. So every time you see a post with more likes than yours, every time someone raises an eyebrow at your opinion, every time you sense you're not measuring up, you get that familiar shot of anxiety, that feeling of, I need to fix this, I need to prove I'm enough. But let me give you some truth you won't hear in school. You don't have to prove anything. Your worth isn't conditional. It's not assigned to you by others. You're not a project that needs constant approval. You're a person with power, with depth, with purpose. But your brain is still trying to survive a world that doesn't exist anymore. That's why it panics when you post something vulnerable. That's why it overthinks every word in a conversation. That's why it replays awkward moments like a highlight reel of shame. It's not weakness, it's wiring, and when you understand that, the game changes. You stop blaming yourself, you stop shaming yourself for being sensitive or unsure, and instead, you get curious, you start asking, how do I rewrite this story? You begin noticing your triggers. Maybe it's that one friend who always seems to subtly brag. Maybe it's when you're around people who earn more, look better, speak louder. Whatever it is, it's not random. Your old brain is scanning for rejection, and your new self has to step in with a better question. Am I in danger or just uncomfortable? See, real growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from stretching your edges, and sometimes that means feeling the fear of being judged and still choosing to act from your truth. Let me put it this way. Imagine you're on stage giving a talk and half the audience crosses their arms. Do you shrink? Do you water down your message just to win them over? Or do you double down on your truth, knowing the right people will hear you, feel you, and remember you? When you stop needing everyone's approval, you become magnetic to the ones who matter. You attract people who see your authenticity, not your armor. You draw in connections that last, not just impressions that pass. You build a life that reflects your values, not someone else's checklist. Because here's the truth, friend. You were never meant to be universally liked. You were meant to be unmistakably you. And the more you understand the roots of this approval addiction, the easier it becomes to loosen its grip. This isn't about becoming indifferent to people. It's about becoming devoted to yourself. So I want you to reflect on this. Where in your life are you still running tribal software? Where are you still reacting out of survival instead of choosing from power? Because once you see it clearly, you can shift it. You can stop chasing applause and start living applause worthy. You ever feel drained after scrolling social media for 10 minutes? It's not just the time you're losing, it's energy, focus, identity. Let me tell you why. Every time you compare your life to someone else's highlight reel, your brain makes a silent judgment, usually against you. You see someone's success, and your mind whispers you're behind. You see someone's relationship, and it murmurs you're alone. You see someone's body, and it says you're not enough. These aren't just thoughts, they're downloads. Unconscious, constant downloads, and if you're not aware, they start to run your operating system. Suddenly, you're not pursuing your dreams, you're chasing theirs. You're not building your life. You're building a version you hope they'll admire. You're not living, you're curating. Comparison isn't just the thief of joy, it's the thief of clarity. You forget what you actually want. You forget what matters to you, and here's the real cost. When you live for likes, you'll die by their absence. When your worth is outsourced, your power is always at risk. But let's pause here. This isn't about deleting every app or disappearing from society. This is about becoming conscious, because awareness is freedom. The truth is, we compare because we want to know where we stand. It's normal, it's human. But the moment that comparison becomes your compass, you lose your sense of direction. So ask yourself right now, when you made that last decision, was it for your fulfillment? Or for someone else's approval? That last post, did it come from your truth or your need to be seen? Because there's a huge difference between sharing who you are and performing who you think they want. Performing is exhausting, it's heavy, you're always on, but rarely real, and deep down you know this, you feel it, that fatigue, that low grade anxiety, that weird sense of emptiness even after getting likes. That's the cost of living outside your truth. Let me tell you something powerful. There is no version of you that will make everyone love you, no look, no post, no lifestyle. You could have the perfect job, the perfect house, the perfect partner, and someone will still think it's not enough. Why? Because their judgment isn't about you, it's about them. So why keep adjusting yourself to please people who don't even see the real you? That's the trap of comparison. It tricks you into playing a game you can never win, because the rules keep changing and the scoreboard isn't even yours. But when you shift your attention inward, when you start asking, what's true for me, what makes me proud, regardless of applause, something wild happens. You begin to respect yourself. You begin to trust your own voice. And you stop chasing worth, because you realize you've had it the whole time. You start creating not to impress, but to express. You start building a life not for attention, but for alignment. And you realize peace, popularity. Always, here's a mindset shift that changed my life. Instead of asking, how do I look to them? Ask, how do I feel with me? That one question will redirect your focus from fake to fulfilled. Because here's the paradox. When you stop trying to impress everyone, you become magnetic to the people who actually matter. The ones who vibe with your truth, who respect your values, who aren't just clapping at your performance, but standing beside your purpose. That's real connection. That's real freedom. So today, take a moment, check in. Where are you performing? Where are you adjusting to fit a mold you never agreed to? Let that awareness crack the armor. Let it remind you, your life isn't a stage, it's a sacred space, and the most powerful thing you can do is be fully, unapologetically you. Ever walk into a room and suddenly feel like everyone's looking at you? Like every move you make, every wrinkle, every word is being judged? Let me hit you with some truth right now. They're not. It feels like they are, but they're not. There's a name for this. Psychologists call it the spotlight effect. It's the tendency to think people are paying more attention to us than they actually are. We overestimate how much others notice our mistakes, our flaws, our appearance, because we are hyper-aware of them. But here's the thing, everyone's too busy thinking about themselves to spend much time thinking about you. Let that land for a second. They're not focused on your awkward handshake. They're not replaying that stutter in your sentence. They're not obsessed with how your shirt fits. They're thinking about how they looked, how they sounded, how they came across. It's wild, isn't it? We spend so much energy worrying about how others see us, while they're doing the exact same thing in their own heads. So here's the question, if nobody's really watching that closely, why are we still performing? Why are we filtering every choice through an imaginary audience? It's because we've been trained to do it. From the time we were kids, we were rewarded for being liked. Be a good boy. Say thank you. Smile for the guests. We learned that approval meant safety, acceptance, belonging. But now you're not a kid anymore. You don't need to shift to survive. You need to be real to thrive. Here's something to try. Next time you feel self-conscious, pause and ask yourself this one question. What if nobody cares, really? What if nobody actually cares that your hair's messy, or that you stumbled on a word, or that you didn't post today? What if the freedom you've been craving is right on the other side of realizing this? Most people are too wrapped up in their own story to worry about yours. And that's not a bad thing. It means you're free, free to experiment, free to fail, free to express, free to not get it perfect the first time, or ever. Look, greatness never came from trying to be flawless. It came from being fearless. You want real confidence. It's not walking into a room thinking, they'll all love me. It's walking in thinking, I'll be fine even if they don't. That shift is everything. Because the moment you stop trying to control what others think of you, you gain control over your own life. And I'm not saying don't care at all. I'm saying care less about being liked and more about being you. You are not on this planet to win a popularity contest. You're here to live aligned, to lead with your values, to create from your core, and the people who matter, they don't need the polished version of you. They want the real one, so breathe. You're not being watched nearly as much as you think, and even if someone is watching, let them witness someone walking in truth. Let them see what it looks like to live unapologetically. Because when you give yourself permission to be real, you give others permission too. That's how we change culture, not by pretending, but by showing up, fully. Let's talk about something that's quietly running your life. External validation. You know what I mean. Likes, compliments, applause that are taboo. From someone whose approval you think you need. Here's the truth. External validation isn't evil. We're human. We crave connection, recognition, acceptance. But the moment your identity depends on it, that's when it owns you. It's like giving someone else the remote control to your emotions. If they smile, you're up. If they don't respond, you're down. If they disagree, you shrink. And if they disapprove, you collapse. That's not living, that's performing. So let's stop pretending that getting everyone to like us is the goal. Let me ask you, what if the very thing you're chasing is the thing that's keeping you stuck? What if all this performing, pleasing, and proving is costing you the one thing you actually want? Freedom. Freedom to speak your truth. Freedom to take bold action. Freedom to live aligned with your real values. Look, validation is like dessert. It feels good. It can be a sweet bonus. But if that's your only source of nourishment, you're starving. You want real power. It starts with this one decision, to validate yourself first. You gotta decide, I am enough before the applause. I am worthy before the compliment. I am whole before the feedback. That doesn't mean you never listen to others. It means you stop letting their opinions become your identity. Here's the shift. Go from what will they think of me, to what do I think of me, from do they approve, to do I align. Because the truth is, nobody knows your full story. They haven't lived your pain. They don't carry your dreams. They don't feel what you feel when you wake up in the middle of the night wondering if this life could be more. Only you know that. So here's your challenge, your call to action. Starting today, stop outsourcing your self-worth. Catch yourself every time you look for someone else to say good job, and instead say it to yourself. Celebrate your effort, not just the outcome. Honor your voice, not just the likes. Validate your process, not just the praise. And when you find yourself shrinking because someone didn't clap, remind yourself, you didn't come here to perform. You came here to lead. Lead with honesty, lead with courage, lead with conviction, because the world doesn't need more people chasing approval. It needs people bold enough to say, this is me, unfiltered, unedited, unapproved. That kind of authenticity, it's rare, and when you live that way, yeah, it might make a few people uncomfortable, but it will make you unstoppable. So here it is, your move. Stop waiting for the world to approve of your story. Start writing it on your terms. Let's stop performing. Let's start living. Let's get real for a minute. Most people think confidence is something you're either born with, or you fake until you make it. But confidence isn't a personality trait. It's a skill, and like any skill, you can build it. But here's the truth most won't tell you. Confidence doesn't come from doing what's comfortable. It comes from doing what's uncomfortable and surviving it. It's not about being fearless. It's about walking through fear and realizing you didn't die. So how do you start building that kind of inner confidence? You start with evidence. Let me explain. Confidence is rooted in one thing, trust in yourself. And how do you trust someone? You watch what they do. If someone says they'll call you at 5 and they always flake, you stop trusting them. Same with you. If you constantly break promises to yourself, confidence disappears. So the first tool, 1, keep micro promises. Start small. Say you'll get up at 7 and you do it. Say you'll drink that water instead of soda and you do it. Say you'll journal for 3 minutes and you do it. Those micro wins compound. They tell your brain, I show up for me. I follow through. That's how trust is built. That's how confidence is born too. Practice identity-based change. Most people say, I'm going to start working out. Wrong focus. The goal isn't the workout. The goal is the identity. I'm the kind of person who honors their body. When your identity shifts, your actions align. Don't chase confidence. Become someone who acts with courage, even when it's messy. 3, speak to yourself like someone you care about. Most people are brutal with their self-talk. They say things to themselves they'd never say to a friend, but your brain believes what you say, especially when you say it with emotion. So catch the critic. Interrupt the voice that says, I'm not good enough. I'll mess this up. They're all better than me. And replace it with something honest, but empowering. I've done hard things before. I'm learning, and that's enough for now. I don't need to be perfect to be powerful. It's not cheesy, it's rewiring. Your nervous system listens to what you repeat. 4, do scary stuff on purpose. Confidence is built in the reps. The first time you speak up, you'll shake. The second time you'll breathe. The third time you'll own it. If you keep avoiding fear, you keep avoiding growth. Make fear a compass. Move toward it, not away from it. That doesn't mean reckless. That means intentional discomfort. Because when you train yourself to do hard things, you don't just feel powerful. You become powerful. 5. Track your progress, not just your goals. Here's where most people fail. They focus on the mountain and ignore how far they've already climbed. You want confidence. Reflect on how far you've come. Keep a wins journal. Every week, write 3 things you did that made you proud, even if they're small. That reflection builds momentum. It tells your brain, I'm growing, I'm moving, I'm not who I used to be. 6. Surround yourself with belief builders. Your environment matters. If you're around people who constantly doubt, mock, or belittle ambition, get out. You don't need perfect people. You need people who remind you who you are when you forget. Get in rooms where growth is normal. Listen to voices that challenge you to expand, and protect your energy like your life depends on it. Because it does. Confidence is not a switch, it's a stack. Stacked habits, stacked actions, stacked moments of courage, and every time you show up for yourself. When it's hard, when you're scared, when you're unsure, you're laying another brick in that foundation. So if you feel like you're lacking confidence, remember, you don't need to wait for it. You need to build it, 1 rep at a time. Let's cut through the noise, because the truth is, most people aren't living their life. They're performing it. Performing for their friends, performing for strangers online, performing for the version of success they think they should be chasing. And you can feel it in your body when you're not being real with yourself. That anxiety, that ache, that constant comparison, that's the cost of living a life out of alignment. So the question becomes, how do you stay true to you when the world's trying to mold you into someone else? 1. Know your core values by heart. You cannot live authentically if you don't know what you stand for. So many people chase goals without checking if they align with their values. What do you believe in? What matters more to you than approval? What would you fight for even if no one clapped? Write it down, keep it close. Your values are your compass when the path gets noisy. 2. Start telling the truth to yourself first. We lie to ourselves more than we realize. I'm fine. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm happy. I think. But the most powerful breakthroughs come when you tell the truth out loud. I'm scared. I don't like where my life is headed. I'm tired of pretending. Authenticity starts when you stop managing how people see you and start getting real about how you see yourself. And here's the magic. The moment you stop faking it, you start attracting people and opportunities meant for the real you. 3. Drop the mask. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You don't need to be polished to be respected. People don't connect with the version of you that has it all figured out. They connect with the one who's real, who's human, who's in the middle of the mess but still choosing to show up. When you're authentic, you stop worrying about fitting in, because you realize you were never meant to. 4. Stop editing your truth for people who don't live your life. Let's be clear. Most people aren't thinking about you as much as you think they are. So stop living to impress the algorithm. Stop filtering your dreams to make others comfortable. You were not put here to play small so others feel okay. You were built for more, and the only way to get there is to stop outsourcing your self-worth. 5. Let go of supposed to. So many of us are trapped in invisible cages made of should. I should be married by now. I should have a better job. I should feel grateful. But every should is a leash. You're not here to follow someone else's script. You're here to write your own. Burn the script, rewrite the story. Start living by design, not by default. 6. Make peace with not being liked. Here's a truth that will set you free. Not everyone will get you, and that's okay. You're not for everyone, and you're not supposed to be. If you live to be liked, you'll shrink your truth to fit someone else's comfort zone. But if you choose to be respected, to be real, to be aligned, you'll attract the right people and lose the ones who were never meant to stay. And that's not rejection, that's redirection. 7. Practice congruence daily. Authenticity isn't a one-time event. It's a practice. It's choosing actions that reflect your values. It's saying no when everything in you wants to people. Please, it's pausing before you post something and asking, is this me or is this who I think I should be? It's choosing depth over performance, presence over popularity, peace over perfection. Every day you have a chance to get closer to yourself or further away. Choose wisely. The world needs more real. More people who speak from the heart, more people who show up with flaws and courage, more people who know who they are and aren't afraid to live it. So if you've ever felt like you're too much or not enough or just a little different, you're probably on the right path. Let's finish strong, because everything we've talked about, the pain, the breakthroughs, the habits, the identity shift, it all leads to this, sustaining the change, not just for a few days. Not just when you're motivated, but for the long haul, for life. And here's what most people don't realize. Change doesn't last when it's built on hype. It lasts when it's built on rhythm. If motivation got you started, rituals are what will keep you going. 1. Identity is everything. Real transformation sticks when it's tied to who you believe you are, not just what you want. Anyone can say, I want to be more confident, but it only sticks when you start to say, I am a confident person, I own that. When you upgrade your identity, your behavior follows, so every morning, remind yourself who you are becoming. Not just what you're trying to do, you're not faking it, you're becoming it too. Create your daily rhythm. Forget perfect routines. What you need is rhythm, something repeatable that works even when life gets messy. A 10-minute morning power up, a gratitude check-in before bed, 3 priorities every day. No more, no less. It's not about how long you go. It's about how often you come back. If you fall off, you don't start over. You return to rhythm. That's how you make transformation inevitable. 3. Anchor your habits to emotion. A habit with no feeling behind it fades fast. So every time you do something powerful, prime your mind, move your body, speak life into yourself. Attach it to a strong emotion, breathe deep, feel it. That's how the habit wires into your nervous system. You're not just doing things anymore, you're conditioning your state, your energy, your focus, your fire, and that state becomes your default. 4. Build your environment for success. Willpower is weak when your environment is working against you. So shape your surroundings. Keep your journal or affirmation cards visible. Eliminate triggers that sabotage your energy. Surround yourself with voices that lift you higher. Change your space, and you change your story. Make it easy to win. Remove friction. Build flow. 5. Protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. You can't give your best to the world when you're constantly drained. So set boundaries. Say no without guilt. Delete the noise. Aud at what you consume. Ask yourself often, is this fueling me or depleting me? Guard your focus. Your future depends on it. 6. Track your wins, not just your goals. Goals are great, but if you never measure progress, your brain will think you're losing, and when you feel like you're losing, you quit. Instead, track the wins every day. Ask, what did I show up for today? What am I proud of? What did I do that my old self would have avoided? Progress is a powerful motivator. Stack it, celebrate it, keep going. 7. Give yourself grace, but don't let yourself off the hook. There will be days when you miss. There will be moments when you slip. That's human, but giving yourself grace isn't the same as giving up. You stumble, you pause, you breathe, and then you get back up with fire in your eyes. Discipline isn't about perfection, it's about recommitment. 8. Live it out loud. Transformation multiplies when it's shared, so don't just grow quietly. Lead by example. Let your family see your growth. Let your coworkers feel your energy shift. Let the world know what's possible when someone decides to change from the inside out. You never know who's watching, who's praying for a sign, who's waiting for someone to go first. Be that someone, and finally, never forget this. You were made for more, not just more stuff, not just more comfort, more meaning, more freedom, more aliveness. But that life, the real life, it won't just show up. You've got to build it, step by step, day by day, with intention, with heart, with a fire that refuses to burn out. You got this.